comes out of nowhere, least expected, and it's just something that I felt was precious to me. Hey loves, I just want to give a huge thank you to everyone that was able to watch my video, my personal story time on my life of my 7-year journey living with HIV. Really appreciate the kind words and the great feedback everyone thus far has given to me. I really wanted to make sure, most importantly, that it was shared. If you have not yet watched my video of me living with HIV for 7 years, please go watch. Please share, like, and subscribe to my channel if you have not yet done so. So, without further ado, tune in into this video. When it comes to anxiety and depression, I feel they go hand in hand. Anxiety is something that a lot of people have in terms to anxiousness, right? Anxiousness is a natural feeling. You could be anxious when it comes to you preparing for a test, or even when it comes to you having to speak in front of others, right? When it goes further than that, that's when it's real anxiety, when it's causing excessive stress. You can't sleep, you can't eat, things of that nature. And the cause of that could be many different things, right? When it comes to anxiety and of course even depression, there's a huge spectrum of that. I have anxiety. I can just tend to overthink when I notice I'm not breathing properly, when I'm not breathing my normal, because it's not a natural thing to me. So my anxiety is always kind of like, going through it. I'm in my own world naturally. I'm very random in my head. Like, I say what's on my mind. It can be random as hell at times, but nonetheless, I say it. And so when I'm not saying exactly what's on my mind, it's literally only because I'm thinking to myself. And a lot of times it's out loud, at other times it's in my head. At times when it's only literally in my head, that's not always the best thing for me, because that's when my anxiety really comes into play. Now, I have come to a point in my life where I'm able to control it majority of the time, but there is that little bit where I'm not able to control it. Okay? And it's very random, comes in spurts. I get to thinking about, okay, what happens when, I get old, like I grow old and I'm almost, close to death. If, given that I get to that point in my life where I'm getting my elderly age and I know time is coming for me if I get to that point. And I used to really stress about it to myself, and that would get my heart racing through the roof. Mind you, I have a heart murmur and it wouldn't be the best. I would not be able to eat, I wouldn't be able to think properly depending on the time of the day, I wouldn't be able to sleep. Like, I literally could not until I was able to cross it out my mind and be like, okay, calm myself down to not think about death, because that is a huge fear of mine. It still is, but I got to the point where as long as I'm not really thinking, I'm not prolonging the thought, I'm good. I'm not going to, be anxious. There's other things that can, check it off when I fear a situation is happening that, like basically any kind of worst fear for me. I think along about it too much, or something in the moment is happening where I least expected it, just comes out of nowhere, basically. It just comes out of nowhere, I least expect it, and it's just something that I felt was precious to me, then that's something immediately is going to trigger my anxiety, and it's going to take some time for me to get over, because then I'm in a whole full-blown on depression. And when it comes to depression, that can last anywhere from a few hours to a few days to a few months to a few years. Okay, let's be real. Depression is very, 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 very serious. Okay, you cannot put a timestamp on how long a person can be depressed about something, because there's all sorts of things people can be depressed about. Thing is, when a person also has anxiety, natural anxiety, not just regular, anxious feelings, but it's actually has anxiety. Adding that to depression, it's like, it's a whole lot of. And I really feel as though it's just something about people that cannot exactly relate. There's no relation there. The person who does not have anxiety, yet alone who isn't really depressed, is coming for the person who has both anxiety and depression and telling them, oh, you shouldn't be depressed about this anymore because it was just this. Like, this thing is so little, where they feel like, the person feels like there's a level to something being so important and major, almost basically belittling. Not right? Everyone's feelings are truly valid. We don't want to invalidate anyone's feelings, especially if they're supposed to be your friend, your family, your partner, what have you. You don't want to invalidate anyone's feelings. You don't want to belittle anyone's feelings, especially if they are suffering from depression and anxiety, because what's going to happen is you belittling them, and you basically, even if you don't realize it, you're tearing them down, and it's going to cause them to go into a deeper depression. Thankfully, I didn't have that problem because I have a great support system surrounding me. And regardless of that, I still at times kept certain things to myself and, pushed through myself, because I'm just that kind of person. And then I'll tell people after the math, but which I'm still working on. But other people don't have that. Not everyone has that support, and they have the complete opposite. And this is what then could lead to suicide. But that's a whole different topic for another time, and a whole nother video. But I just want to really put it out there that it is important that you be cautious of people with anxiety and depression. You don't know truly what they are thinking and how they are feeling, in that moment. It should be made well known to people that depression is real, anxiety is real. People, take medications for this. Not everyone, including myself, I don't, personally, because for many, really, it can make matters worse, depending on what they're prescribed. And that's a whole thing within itself as well. That's a whole different story within itself. But I feel as though it needs to be made known that this is serious mental health issue that needs to be discussed more. And I hope people from here on seeing this are able to think from here like, yeah, I need to change up some things. on my approach with people, regardless if you do know they have anxiety or suffer through depression or not. Anybody that you know could be going through something, even if they don't say anything. You just want to treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Because that's how I do things. Me personally, that's how I look on life. Treat people the way you want to be treated, because you just never know. On that note, I am going to say adios. I shall see you guys on the flip side.